This is Akedat Yitzhak Gimel, the third cycle of the Binding of Isaac story, Chelek Aleph, the first section. I'll read through in Hebrew and translate and parse out interesting verbs and nouns along the way. Vayehi achar hadavarim ha'eleh, and it happened after these words or things. This is a past narrative, third masculine singular of Haya. Know it's past narrative because of the Vav and the Patak. Remember that sometimes the past narrative doubles the Yod and sometimes it does not. So this is one of those times when the Dagesh is not in the Yod. Here we have a third masculine singular noun that is definite. It is not bound, even though there's a demonstrative pronoun that follows it. It's not bound. The mem's there, so we know it's not bound. Bound nouns always lose the mem, and they're both definite. If it was bound, the first one could not be definite. Vaha Elohim nisa et Avraham, and God tested Abraham. Here we have a nifal, third masculine singular. Vayomer elav, and he said unto him, Avraham, Hineni, this means behold me, which is suffix there on the end of hine, which is behold. Chakna et bincha et yachidcha asher ahavta et Yitzhak. Take please your son, your only son, who you love, Isaac. Here we have an imperative. There's a number of reasons why you know this is an imperative. One, na follows it. Whenever you have a verb followed by na, you're most likely looking at an imperative. Also, we know that's an imperative because this word is lechak, lamed kof chet, but the lamed is missing. The only time the lamed will be missing is if it is in the imperfect conjugation, in the imperative conjugation, or the past narrative conjugation. If it was past narrative, it'd look like this down here. Vayechach. This is past narrative. If it was imperfect, it would just have the yod, kof, and chet. But it doesn't have the vav or the yod. Both of those have been stripped off, and we're left with the imperative. So the imperative is built off of the imperfect, and the suffix or the prefix is removed from the imperfect to make it into an imperative. So it's a second person masculine singular imperative. There are four objects all in opposition to one another. That means that they all are functioning as the object. They're not modifying each other. They are what is being acted upon by the verb. We only need one object for the sentence, but due to the importance of this object, it is essentially repeated four times just with different words. So your son, your only one, the one you love, Isaac. V'lech lecha el eretz hamoriya, and go to yourself unto the land of Moriah. This lech lecha is an interesting construction. This is essentially cause yourself to go. V'ha'alehu sham lo'ola al achad he harim asher omar e lecha, and cause him to go up there for an offering upon one of the mountains, which I will say unto you. Here we have a hifil, perfect, from Allah, ayin lamed he, with the suffix on the end, third masculine singular suffix. We know it's a hifil because there's a he on the front here. And here is a nice noun, third masculine singular noun. It is definite. The he on the front lets us know that it's definite, even though there's no patak or dagesh. We know it's definite. Typically, the definite article is spelled he, patak, dagesh, but gutturals can't take dagesh, so this he's lost the dagesh. Because it's lost the dagesh, this vowel has changed. Normally, the patak would lengthen to a kametz, but here it's a segel because we cannot have two comets is underneath two hays in a row. Here we have a verb built on Aleph Mem Resh, mar, to speak. It is an imperfect. So normally imperfects are spelled with a prefix, and in fact there is a prefix here. But since it's first common singular, we would add an aleph, but we can't have two alephs in a row, so one of them has been lost. Vayash came Avraham baboker, and Abraham woke himself up early in the morning. Vayash came is a past narrative hifil. We really only know that this is hifil because of the vowels. The patak under the yod is a clear sign of the hifil. All the other binyanim take different vowels underneath the prefix of the yod here. We also know because of this zere. Normally we have hirik yod, but oftentimes in the past narrative, the hirik yod will be turned into a zere. And this woke himself up early. It's hifil, so it's causative, woke himself up. And it's early, really implied from this verb here that this is happening early in the morning. Vayachavosh et chamoro, and he saddled his donkey. Vayakak et shnei na'arav ito ve'et Yitzchak bano, and he took two of his lads with him, and Isaac his son. Na'arav is a plural masculine noun that is bound to its suffix. Grammatically, it is definite, even though there's no definite article. All nouns that are bound to a suffix are definite. Here, beno is a noun. It is singular, masculine singular noun bound to its suffix. Note the different spelling of the third masculine singular suffix. When a masculine singular suffix, a third masculine singular suffix is bound to a plural noun, it is spelled like this with a yod vav. When it is bound to a singular noun, it is spelled with a holem vav. Vayavaka atse olah, and he split the wood of the offering, the burnt offering. Here we have a PL verb. We know it's PL because of the shavah underneath the yod. Hifils take patak, PLs take shavah underneath the yod, and calls take hirik. So here we know that it's a PL. We also know that it's PL because of the dagesh in the second root letter. Atse is a bound masculine plural noun. We know that it's bound because the tzera yod, there's no men, but the tzera yod is telling us that it's bound to the following noun. Vayakam, and he arose. Vayelek, and he went. El hamakom asher amar lo ha-Elohim, unto the place which he said to him. The subject's here at the end. God said to him. Amar has been fronted because of the grammatical term, so it takes the first spot in the sentence. Typically, we'd expect the subject to follow the verb in situations like this, but the object is following the verb because it's a prepositional phrase with a suffix. So it's preposition plus suffix. These sorts of objects are essentially bound to their verbs and cannot be separated. So we have verb object suffix, one of the rare cases where that happens. B'yom hashlishi, on the third day, Vayesa Avraham et einav, Abraham lifted up his eyes, Vayar et hamakom merahok, and he saw the place from a distance. This prepositional phrase has been fronted to the very beginning of this clause. This is actually a subordinate clause to the main clause that starts here. Vayesa is the main verb of this clause. But Bayom Hashilishi has been fronted for focus. So this is the focus of the story now, that after 3 days, all of this stuff has happened. Typically, we'd expect this sort of prepositional phrase to occur at the end of the sentence. Abraham lifted up his eyes. Here we have a nifal. We know it's a nifal Sorry, it's a call. We know that it's a call because the Hirik underneath the Yod, and because of the A vowel here. The dagesh here in the sin is because this the root is nun sin aleph nasa, to lift up. Shavu lechem po im hachamor. Abraham's talking here, and he says, "You cause yourselves to return here with the donkeys, or dwell here. Shuva here is saying to dwell. It's actually yeshav, to dwell, and it's in the imperative. We know that it's imperative because the yod is fallen off, and it starts with the shva here. Second masculine plural imperative. So cause yourselves to dwell here. Lechem is the object, so they are acting upon themselves. Po here with the donkeys. Va'ani v'hanar neilcha v'nishtachave v'nashuva alechem. And I and the lad, we will go and we will worship, and we will return unto you. So some interesting words here. Here we have an imperfect first common plural. The nun on the front tells us it's first common plural from yalak, or from halak. It's actually cohortative. We know that's cohortative because the hey has been added on the end. So we should probably translate this, I and the lad, so that we might worship. V'nishtachave is a hishtafel. It's kind of like a hitpael, but with a shin added in. This is the only binyanim that this root occurs in. The root means to bow, chet vav he, but in the hishtafel it means to bow down repeatedly, and this is the word that's used for prostration, to bend down on both knees, bend at the waist, and place one's head on the ground, and to repeat that action over and over. So hishtafel is causative and has a repetitive motion. Vayechak Avraham etz atzei ha'olah, and Abraham took the wood of the offering, of the burnt offering, vayasem al Yitzchak beno, and he set it upon Isaac his son, vayechach b'yado et ha'esh ve'et ha'ma'achelet. So Abraham took the wood of the burnt offering and he set it upon Isaac his son, and he took in his hand the fire and the knife. Vayelchu shnehem yachdav, and the two of them walked together. So this is the first section of the third reading of the Binding of Isaac story.